Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah and today's video is all about understanding the difference between contrast and the intensity of colour. This question came in from a subscriber who commented on one of my previous videos. Thank you so much. I tried to go back and find out who it was that suggested this, but thank you for the suggestion. I always love these kind of questions because I know that the content is going to be useful for you in the future. So this is a conversation that has come up through colour analysis. If you're new on my channel, I have many videos on colour analysis. It is a big part of the work that I do with my clients. If you're interested in your own analysis, do get in touch. I work online and in person. But before we get into today's topic, I do want to just give one last shout out about my signature and best-selling online course, Streamline Your Style, which is back on May 12th and is currently on special offer but won't be for too much longer. It is directly aimed at people who have lots of clothes and nothing to wear. So I aim to solve that for you over the course of 6 weeks. This is an in-depth course. You're going to learn loads. There's live sessions. If you miss the live sessions, that's okay. I record these so they're always available to you. You have access for life so you can come back and do them again. There's workbooks, there's challenges, there's so much to this course. Do not miss out. Sign up today. Now let's get into the topic for today. Let's first talk about the intensity of colour. So intensity is one word that we can use to describe how bright or clear or intense a colour is. And if we look at what I'm wearing today, which is my IKEA tablecloth, by the way, which I turned into a dress, you'll notice that the colours on it are quite strong, they're vibrant. And this is what we're talking about when we talk about the intensity of a colour. If we're going to get technical about it, this is also called chroma. Let me show you from my coloured drapes that I use in colour analysis exactly what I'm talking about. Now looking at this, you can see that straight away that it is quite a strong green. So we would describe that as high intensity colours. So all of the colours in fact on this drape here are from Bright Winter and they would all be considered high intensity colours. They're vibrant, they're highly saturated. All of these words you can use to describe these colours. On the other side of the scale are soft or muted colours or low intensity. And these are drapes from the soft summer category. Now, if we take this sage green against the emerald green, you'll see that there is quite a strong difference between these two greens. So this is a scale. All of these qualities that I talk about in colour analysis are scales, whether it's temperature, chroma, value. So there's many different shades of green between these two, but these are kind of the extreme sides of intensity. The way we go from a strong, intense colour is we add grey to it. So the more grey we add to a colour, that's when we get these kind of greyed out grey greens on the other side of the scale. So when we talk about the intensity of the colour, we are talking about one colour being strong. Now let's talk about contrast. Contrast is the relationship between two things. So in order for us to have contrast, we must have two colours, or we must have one colour in comparison maybe to a skin tone, like so, which would create a high contrast on me. Contrast is a topic that I think is frequently overlooked in colour analysis and consultations, but it's something that I always do with my clients. I want people to understand not just block colours and what suits them, but their prints that they can wear so that it doesn't feel overwhelming on them. It doesn't feel like the print is wearing them. That's really important to understand. So if we talk about the relationship of two colours to each other, we could use these stripes here. I'll get a bit closer here so you can see them. So this is considered a low contrast stripe. We've got kind of an off-white or maybe even it's cream against this greige, I would call it, a mix between beige and grey. So their contrast here is not very strong. Now, if we dial it up to the other side of contrast, where we've got black and white, which is the highest level of contrast. So this is the relationship between two colours at either end of a spectrum put beside each other, creating a very high contrast. Of course, again, like anything else, there's a scale of contrast. So we could have low, like I showed you, high, but there's also medium levels of contrast. I would consider this dress somewhere probably moving between medium to high level of contrast. The pink is quite strong against the white, and this is about the right level of contrast for me. I could probably push it up to a higher level, like like black and white, which I have in my wardrobe, and I've created this coat which many of you would have seen before, and I do wear that. Low level contrast does not suit me well. I think getting the right level of contrast is incredibly important because I think it's one of the things that can age a person instantly. There's nothing wrong with getting old, absolutely not. I'm so pro age, that's fine. But why make yourself look older than you are? So we want to look the age that we are, basically. So this is a scarf that would be considered low contrast. So it's a soft pink and it's got a little bit of silver there, not creating an incredibly strong contrast at all. It's a little bit wishy-washy on me. On somebody else, it would look amazing. And it's about understanding what level of contrast really works for you. Now let's talk about contrast in relation to your skin, because it's different for everybody and it is such a unique conversation that you would have with your colour consultant about how to create contrast for you, whether it's the right contrast for you. Let's take the colour black, for example. Now on its own, if we talk about intensity, black is a really intense colour. This inky black, again, we have varieties of different types of black, but this inky black is really high intensity. Does that mean it's going to create high contrast in a person? Not necessarily. If you were to put this black on me, yes, it creates high contrast. It's the relationship of the colour next to my skin. So I have quite fair skin, especially at this early part of this summer where I haven't been in the sun for a long time. My skin is at its palest. High contrast does suit me on my skin. Now, if I had a client who came to me and they had black skin, let's take Lupita Nyong'o. Again, apologies for my pronunciation on this name. She has beautiful dark skin. Now, if we were to put this intense colour on her, the contrast wouldn't be so high. However, if we were to put white on her skin, the contrast would be high. If we put white on my skin, there's not really a high level of contrast. There's a little bit, but a lot less than wearing the colour black. So if you're going for a colour analysis, and it's not with me, but I would highly recommend it, do talk to your consultant. They should be able to tell you what level of intensity of colour that you're aiming to achieve, whether that's low level intensity, high level, or somewhere in between. And then a separate conversation around level of contrast that is best for you, because wearing the wrong colour pattern, as I say, can be incredibly aging, or it can actually be overwhelming and not suit you at all. This is something I talk to with all my colour consultation clients anyway, but it's something that's often overlooked. Let me know in the comments below if you know your level of intensity and the level of contrast that's needed for you. That'll be really interesting to find out how many people actually know this, or maybe you can tell us, I don't have a clue. That's it for today's video. I do hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. If you have any questions that you'd like answered, do let me know in the comments below. And I'll see you again next week with another video. Take care. Bye bye.